Okay, we are now recording. I'm going to share my screen. And once again, welcome. Um, my name is Kelene Blake Fallon, and I am a health educator as well as a teacher and an herbalist. And so I figured these are good skills to have to create a webinar that helps people to be less panicked about the coronavirus, because I've been noticing a lot of misinformation being spread and a lot of just panicked behavior. So, we're going to mitigate that with, you know, knowledge and actual helpful, correct information. So, and I'm also going to use some of the information as an herbalist and just some practical at-home remedies and ways to take care of yourself during this time. All right, so here's a whole bunch of things we're going to cover. We're going to talk about what is the virus. So what even is coronavirus? How is it affecting people? What are the symptoms? And what are some of the issues around how severe it can become? Who's at higher risk? What to do if you do feel sick? When, at what point do you need to go and seek medical care, get emergency care, testing, and other ways it's affecting us? The important thing to remember is that you have an immune system that has been working for you your whole life so far to keep you healthy and to push away all of these potential threats to your body. And so we are going to talk about our immune system and how we can make sure it is in good shape, since at this time we are dealing with an unusual, brand new virus. And so, same immune system, new virus. Let's figure out how we can give our immune system the best help in this job. There are other ways to prepare, some other tips, as well as some discussion about what is likely to happen with regards to this pandemic based on other past pandemics and just general information and progress that I'm reading about and learning about. So here we go. What is, I'm going to call it COVID. What is COVID-19 coronavirus? So first of all, coronaviruses is just a general type of viruses. This particular type tends to affect the respiratory tract of birds and mammals, and we're mammals, so humans are included. And they're called coronaviruses because when you look at them, if you were to look at the little image on the side here, when you look at them, there are these protein spikes that can look under a microscope like a halo or a crown around the actual core of the virus. And so the Latin word for crown and halo is corona. That is where it got its name. And these viruses have existed for a while. You have probably had a coronavirus already. If you've ever had a cold, coronaviruses are one of the main causes. Coronaviruses and rhinoviruses are the types of viruses that cause the common cold. And so there are several types of coronaviruses that give people the cold. Some strains of coronaviruses are more severe than others. And COVID is one that is more severe. It is a new strain, and that is what makes it really important that we are careful about it. It is new. We don't have a whole bunch of information yet about it, but it is a coronavirus. It is something like, it's not alien. It's something within the scope of what we've experienced already. This new strain, the full name is Coronavirus Disease 2019, or COVID-19 for short. It's called that because it's a coronavirus disease that appeared in December 2019. Very simple. The name could look intimidating because acronyms tend to be intimidating, but really that is what it means. Coronavirus disease 2019. It is one of several different types of coronaviruses. And because COVID-19 is so new, we don't really yet know everything about it. This is the main reason for all the precautions. But already, scientists are moving very quickly in understanding it and figuring it out. So how is this particular strain of coronavirus affecting people? Just like all the other coronaviruses that cause the cold, COVID-19 affects the respiratory tract, so nose, throat, and lungs. What makes it different is that unlike colds and flu, it also causes shortness of breath. So it causes people to have trouble breathing, and it could, associated with that, it could also cause like chest pain and chest tension. So very similar in many ways to things we've experienced in life with the cold. The common symptoms, the common milder symptoms are fever, tiredness, and a dry cough. Some people, not everybody, some people also experience aches and pains, like a chest pain, may experience nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat, and diarrhea. That is not always the case, but it is sometimes the case. And the things that tend to be always the case are fever, tiredness, and dry cough. The more severe symptom, the point at which you realize that this is doing something different, is when it starts causing difficulty breathing. Okay, so that is the main difference, is the difficulty breathing. For this virus, just like many colds, there's an incubation period, which means there's a few days in between actually being exposed to it somewhere and starting to show signs in your body if you caught it. That incubation period for COVID-19 is anywhere between 1 to 14 days, but it looks like most people are experiencing some kind of symptoms within 5 days. So when you hear about people talking about, I haven't traveled or I came back from this trip 2 weeks ago, it is still possible that they got whatever they may be experiencing on a trip from 2 weeks ago. It might take a while for the symptoms to come up in their body. And that's during that time, it is because the virus is, at first, if someone gets exposed to a virus and it enters their body, those few virus molecules, let's call them, they're not enough to start showing symptoms yet. So actually, over those course of days, they're multiplying. And then when they multiply to a certain level, that's when people start experiencing the symptoms. How severe is COVID-19? For most people who catch it, the symptoms are mild. The people who are more likely to experience severe symptoms are older adults, people who have serious chronic medical conditions, such as heart disease, diabetes, lung disease, high blood pressure. The lung diseases or the lung issues could also include asthma. Asthma is relatively common, so it's a respiratory infection. So people with asthma need to be very cautious. Also, people who are immunocompromised, which means the immune system has been weakened for some reason. It's weaker than their full force immune system. Things that can cause people to be immunocompromised are cancer, if you're undergoing cancer treatment, or if you are recovering from cancer treatment. For a while, your immune system is weaker than usual and you need to be very careful. Surgery. Surgery puts a big toll, a big strain on your body, and your immune system is busy helping you to recover from your surgery. So that can cause people to be immunocompromised. So if anyone has had surgery recently, you would want to take extra precautions. HIV is human immunodeficiency virus. So that probably everybody knows, mainly is a virus that affects the immune system. So if someone has HIV, they are definitely needing to be very cautious because it is possible for them to catch any illnesses more easily. Any other immune disorders? There are some genetic immune disorders. Some people develop immune disorders. So you know yourself, your body, and your vulnerabilities. If you have any, that is when you would know to be more careful and cautious. And we'll talk a little bit about the simple things you can do to be more careful and cautious. Just because you may be one of the people who are more likely to experience severe symptoms does not mean it spells, death and disaster. It simply means that you need to be more cautious and aware of your actions and the actions of those around you to stay away from this virus at this point in time. If we're looking at worldwide cases up to today, there have been 150,006 people worldwide who were confirmed to have caught COVID-19. About half of them, like that's from the beginning in December 2019 to now, to today, about half of them, or 48% of them, 72,000 of them have recovered. And the recoveries are increasing quickly. Like between yesterday and today, yesterday morning, it was at 70 something thousand. Then by the end of the day, it was 71 something thousand. And today, this morning, it's 72,000 people who have fully recovered and who it has been established that they have recovered. So people do recover. And then altogether between December and now, worldwide, 5,614 people have died. That is about 3.7%, almost 4%, or in other words, less than 1 in 25 people who have caught it have passed away. A lot of the times, it would be the people who are immunocompromised or have medical conditions that cause complications. So again, that is why it's important to take extra care of yourself. And of course, the numbers are constantly changing. There is this very cool website that I'm going to pull up right now. Let's see. It is, not this one. That one is Get Your Household Plan Action. There is a website that is provided by, I found it, that is provided by Johns Hopkins Center for System Science and Engineering. And this website, wherever you are, I think I may have people, definitely have people from Trinidad. I have folks here in Austin. I may have somebody from elsewhere, a few folks from elsewhere as well. So using this is a dashboard. It is at this website, I will post the link, and the link is in the slides as well. This helps you keep track of everywhere. You can click on one of the dots and it will tell you, okay, so in Oklahoma, there were 4 confirmed cases. No one's recovered yet. They're all still active, which means they all still have it. They haven't recovered yet. In Trinidad, there is 2 confirmed cases, no deaths. The 2 cases are active. No one's recovered yet because the cases just happened between yesterday and today. So this is a handy little guide. You can keep track of where you are, or you can just look at the biggest dots and see where in the world have the most things going on if you're planning travel. So, but right now travel is closed for a lot of people. So hopefully you're not planning travel right now. But yeah, that is the dashboard that you can use. So that little side trip was so you can know how to use that dashboard. It is, again, it's really well updated. It's by Johns Hopkins, which not always my favorite historically, but they have good information. And so next practical question is, what does a person do if they feel sick? All right, if you start feeling sick, the first thing you want to do is isolate yourself, kind of stay away from your family, stay away from other people who you don't want to make sick. Hopefully what you do when you have a cold, right? Hopefully that's what you do if you have a flu, or I don't know how many people have had chicken pox or anything like that. But in the same way you would do that if you have chicken pox, you do it the same way if you start feeling sick. At this point, if you start feeling sick, like with cold-like symptoms, with a fever or sore throat or any of that, it could still very well be a cold or allergies or flu. Those things are still happening very commonly at this point in time during this change in season, right? So people are still getting colds, allergies, and flus. Every cough, every sniffle is not COVID-19. All right, so that's an important thing to remember. And honestly, even if it is a regular cold or flu, you still don't want to spread it. And even more so right now. Like, say previously, if you have a cold and it's just a simple cold, you go about your business as best you can unless it gets really bad, and then you stay home or you call out from work. Same thing with a flu. Hopefully, once you figure out it's a flu, you stay home and you recover. The thing with colds and flus is they can also get pretty bad for the same people who are immunocompromised or who experience the most like vulnerability around their immune system or around their health. So older people, people with diabetes, heart diseases, lung problems, all those folks who have HIV or who've had chemotherapy, all of them, the cold and the flu is just also very dangerous for them as well. So in general, be a higher level of polite, even if what you have is just a cold or a flu. How do you tell the difference? So here are some symptoms, some really common symptoms. How do you tell the difference between if you have COVID-19, if you have a cold, a flu, or if it's seasonal allergies? Starts with the length of symptoms. The length of symptoms, COVID-19 is 7 to 25 days, so it can go to almost a month. A cold is less than 14 days. A flu is about a week to 2 weeks long. That's how long it takes for your body to move through that. And then seasonal allergies is however long the season lasts, unfortunately, right? Coughs. So for the coronavirus, The cough is common, but it's usually dry. For a cold, you can have a cough. It's usually mild. For the flu, you also may have a dry cough. And for allergies, you can get a cough as well. More often is if the allergies irritate asthma, that is where you'd have a cough. A lot of times allergies is sneezing, sniffling, runny eyes. Not as often would it have a cough. Shortness of breath. Shortness of breath is the one that distinguishes coronavirus from cold or flu or allergies. So shortness of breath or having trouble breathing as part of the symptoms, that would be a cause for concern in terms of wanting to get tested. Sneezing. You don't sneeze with coronavirus. You might sneeze with the cold and you might sneeze with allergies. Runny nose or stuffy nose, it's rare. So it's not as often you'd have a runny nose with coronavirus, whereas it's more common with cold, flu, and allergies. Sore throat, again, this is a sometimes thing, right? For coronavirus. It's very common for cold, and then with flu and allergies, you also may or may not have it, depending. Fever is common for coronavirus. The cold, you don't usually get much of a fever, or at least not for very long. For the flu, definitely you get fever, and allergies, not usually. Tiredness, that happens for all of them. For the flu, it's common. For all the rest, it happens sometimes for some people. Headaches, sometimes. So it is rare for headaches to be part of a cold. So headaches might be common with the flu. It might sometimes happen because of allergies, because of sinus pressure. And sometimes it would happen for coronavirus. And body aches, the coronavirus tends, you hear about body aches and pains, especially in the chest, because it's a respiratory infection and because of the breathing tension and issues. So sometimes you might have chest body aches. It is very common with the cold and the flu, not as common with allergies. And then diarrhea, for all those people who went and bought toilet paper. Diarrhea is a rare symptom of coronavirus. It is a potential symptom, but it's not the main things. The main things are fever, cough, and sometimes a sore throat, right? Sometimes definitely feeling tired. You know, people always feel tired. That's one of the first ways you know you're getting sick, is this sense of tiredness, lethargy. So diarrhea is also, if it is present, it is unique to coronavirus. Sometimes little kids get diarrhea when they experience the flu, but it's not so much common with the cold or with allergies, unless it's a food allergy, I guess, or food intolerance. Okay. So at what point, if you're feeling sick, at what point is it important to seek medical care? If you're experiencing the specific combination of fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, then that is the point where you want to call your healthcare provider. It's something you would monitor for yourself. You would see how your symptoms are. If your symptoms are worsening, again, even if your cold or flu gets bad, you want to go to get medical care, right? So you pay attention to your symptoms, especially if you're experiencing shortness of breath. That way you want to get that care early so that developing anything more severe can be prevented. What, at least in Austin, what is being recommended is that you call first. And I think in a lot of places as well. You call the doctor you're gonna go to or the clinic you're gonna go to, you call them first. And what they will do, sometimes they would have a nurse triage you, which is basically asking you questions to figure out how severe your case is. They will triage you over the phone. So they'll ask you your questions over the phone, and then they'll give you the instructions about like what to look out for, when to come in for treatment or testing, if that's what they determine that you need. So it's important to be honest, and it's important to pay attention to your body, listen to your body, and be able to explain what you're feeling. The things that are emergency warning signs in adults for COVID-19, coronavirus, is difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, persistent pain or pressure in the chest, new confusion or inability to arouse. So this confused feeling, that's an emergency sign. Bluish lips or face, if you have light skin. I would imagine people with darker skin, our version is more grayish than bluish. When we're not getting oxygen or we're not getting blood flow to where we need to go. So that list isn't all inclusive because it's still new. But again, if you have any symptoms that are severe or concerning, you want to seek medical attention. How do people get tested? The test is very similar to getting tested for the flu, in that they typically take a swab. So they stick something in your nose that's kind of uncomfortable. They would take a swab and try to get a sample of cells from the very back of your nose. So it might feel uncomfortable, but it's quick and easy. And then from there, that is it for you in terms of the patient. You've done your part. From there, these cells are sent to a lab so it can be accurately tested for the specific COVID virus strain. Right now, it takes a while. People are saying it's taking a couple of days, 24 to 48 hours to get results in the US. Part of that was, at first, the CDC was the only group testing in the USA, but the CDC won't be able to handle, right now it's somewhere around 2,000 cases in the whole of the US, right? That turnover time is too slow. So more companies are being allowed to test, and so testing availability and the time it takes to get results should be improving. And for those in other countries, at least for those in Trinidad, your healthcare is taken care of. But for those of you in the US who are uninsured, 2 days ago, Congresswoman Katie Porter got the CDC director to authorize free testing for COVID-19, even if people are uninsured. She did that by just grilling and making sure they know that that was a barrier for people to get tested. And if the CDC wants to know to keep a handle on this outbreak, they need to know how many people have actually caught the virus. So the CDC director conceded, said she was very good at asking questions, and said yes, he will work on free testing for everybody, even the uninsured. So that should be coming soon, based on what happened in that meeting. And there should be, if you're curious, there's video about that. I hadn't seen any announcement saying anything about it in the past. I don't know, in the past. Ooh, sorry, my screen share closed. Let me get this fixed. Here we go. Okay, that should solve it. All right, we are back. Yeah, so other effects that COVID-19 is having on people goes beyond health. Schools are closing. Y'all have realized that. A lot of us, at least in Austin, have realized that by now. Schools are closing. Around now is spring break. For most schools, spring break has been extended, and they are making preparations to potentially have classes online. Events are being canceled or postponed. A lot of people are experiencing loss of income. Some people, particularly Asians, are experiencing racist attacks. The media reporting can get people very afraid. It's very jarring. And there is a lot of misinformation being spread, especially on social media and on, like, text apps, all of those sorts of things, Messenger, all of that. So the main thing is stay calm and don't spread misinformation, uh, because that is not helping the situation at all. And I think a lot of the issue is people think this is this big bad scary wolf, when really for most people it is a cold. Oh, it's not a cold, but it is milder than um, most people seem to imagine it is. And for those who are healthy, your main focus is less about survival and more about protecting the people who are most susceptible to it. All right, ways to reduce and prevent transmission. These tips come directly from the CDC. So we've been hearing them, obviously. Hopefully, many of them are things that we've been doing ourselves anyway. One is to clean your hands often. Wash it with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, especially after you've been in public or after blowing your nose or coughing or sneezing, anything like that, because the air droplets from coughs and sneezes, and even though sneezing is not one of the COVID things, someone can still sneeze and they can also still have that virus. So you never know. So wash your hands. Use soap and water. And when soap and water is not available, feel free to use hand sanitizer, but like use soap and water first if it's available. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. So obviously, wash your hands before you eat, after you eat, of course, after using the bathroom, all of that. Okay. So avoiding close contact with people. If you know someone is sick, even if it is sick with the cold or the flu, the idea is to you not get sick, because the more people who get the cold and the flu, then the more panicky people are gonna get. That's just what I've seen. Most people are catching colds and flus at this season, and or some people are coughing from allergies, and they're experiencing a lot of negativity just by having a cough or a cold. So let's avoid the spread of that as well. So try not to be too close or around folks who are sick. People who are at higher risk of getting sick, you need to pay special attention to not to like stay 6 feet away from folks who may be sick, who may be coughing, or as much as possible, stay in if you can stay in, like work from home if possible. That's not always possible. Find ways to greet people that are germ-free. So here's some really good ideas that Riders Against the Storm posted the other day. It is simply simple ways, 32 seconds of how to stay germ-free. Pound that, we call that bounce in Trinidad. Other things you can do, you're not trying to be rude, you're not trying to be um, unkind or disrespectful to people. That's not at all what's happening. You can do air hugs if you don't want to hug people, right? If you You don't want to shake hands. You can, do other things. It's going to be a practice in boundaries, boundary setting and boundary keeping. So that's it. Covering coughs and sneezes. Of course, you want to cover your nose and mouth if you cough or sneeze with a tissue, and you want to throw that tissue away. If there's no tissue at hand, don't cough into your hands. Cough into your elbow, especially if you're wearing long sleeves, cough into your elbow. That is much better than coughing into your hands, because your hands are encountering way more surfaces than the inside of your elbow. Cleaning and disinfecting, especially areas that you are using often, touching a lot. Your phone screen, your computer keyboard, your steering wheel, all those things, tables, doorknobs, your favorite spot, your favorite corner, wherever, right? Just disinfect those places. Right now, it's suggested you just do it daily. That's it. It is one simple extra step that is keeping you and the people around you safer from catching a virus. That's it. And if surfaces are visibly dirty, of course, you want to clean them. Use detergent or soap and water before you disinfect them. So before you use that little Clorox wipe or whatever type of Lysol or whatever disinfectant, clean them first before trying to disinfect. The disinfectant doesn't do both. Well, it shouldn't have to do both. That's some heavy lifting for the disinfectant. So clean first, then disinfect if something is visibly dirty. Now, the household plan, the household care. If you have, if you are in a family, if you live with other people, then you need to work together to create a plan. And that plan could include making a list of local organizations that your household can contact in case you need access to information. Make sure the young ones have access to the right phone numbers that they may need to call, and let them know when they need to call them. Healthcare services, support and resources, all of that. For those in your household who may be at greater risk, think about them. If you have a roommate, like if it's not your family member, but you have a roommate, have some decency to care about your roommate, because that's a thing. That's a very common thing here in Austin, is having roommates. So if you have a roommate who might be a greater risk, that doesn't mean you go about your business without considering them, right? Other things you need to do: create an emergency contact list, including friends, families, neighbors, people to do carpool with, teachers, healthcare providers. Make your list of all the people that you may need to contact, so everything is there and ready. That is something within your control, is making sure you have your contact list available. Choose a room in your house if possible. Choose a room in your house that can be used if someone gets sick. So figure out where is a good space that you can create a safe, comfortable bubble for someone to recover if they get sick. If they get sick with anything, right? That way you're keeping yourself and everybody else as safe and preventing transmission as much as possible. Separate them if someone is sick. Put them in the prepared room. If you're caring for them, you follow the recommended procedures. You monitor your own health. You definitely stay home if you get sick, except if you have to go to the doctor, then plan that ahead. And stay in contact with your friends and family by phone or email. Don't just be isolated, literally. Communicate with people, stay in contact, right? Emergency warning signs, we went through those. And then continuing practicing everyday preventative actions. Keep your surfaces disinfected. Avoid sharing personal items. Stop sharing drinks. Don't share foods. Don't share utensils, right? That's not for right now. Stay informed about the local outbreak situation. Notify your your job if your schedule needs to change, and take care of your emotional health and the emotional health of your household. For, like I said earlier, in Trinidad, that dashboard showed that there were 2 cases. In Austin, yesterday, I believe, there were were about 2 cases, 2 brand new cases, um, leading to UT closing down for the, well, closing down for the day and for the 2 extra spring break. So yeah, in Austin also, we need to start being cautious and taking our precautions. All right, if you're at higher risk, then stock up on supplies. Don't stockpile, stock up, right? Just get extra medicines if you need to buy medicines. Make sure you have your medications at home so you don't have to go out and get them, because the less you go out, the less exposure you have. And if you're at higher risk, you want to have less exposure if possible. Take everyday precautions, keep space between yourself and others. When you go out in public, stay far from people. Like, try to maintain your bubble of space around yourself and limit close contact to people. And of course, wash your hands often. Avoid crowds, avoid travel, and yeah, let your inner introvert or your outer introvert take over. Stay home, relax, spend some time with yourself. Okay, so this is where we take a pause, stand, breathe, change position, stretch if needed. Any questions? Let me look at the chat. Okay. We are recording. How much should we stock up on? 1 week worth or 2 weeks? That's a good question. Yeah. Okay. I would say for medications, honestly, medications tend to come in 30-day supplies. So get your 30-day supply. In terms of other things, especially if you're living on your own and you can't go out, then stock up probably for 3 weeks. Which, when you buy groceries, a lot of the things you buy are gonna last you about that long anyway. All right, I'll get that. That's a good question, Ina. But yeah, in terms of stocking up, medications, give yourself a month worth of medications, and give yourself, yeah, see if you can skip this week and next week. Well, I should say, see if you can skip the next 2 weeks without having to go out too much, because right now, this seems to be a high point in the spread in terms of, now it's gotten to the places it hasn't gotten to, like Trinidad or like Austin. It wasn't in Austin before 2 days ago. So give it a couple weeks, stock up for a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Don't stockpile and take everything on the shelf, because then the other person who has an immune disorder or who has a lung issue or diabetes, they can't get. So that's the main thing. Give yourself 3 weeks, and then make sure you have about your 30-day supply of medicines. Ina, how do you know the difference between anxiety, chest pains, and shortness of breathing? There are anxiety coping mechanisms that can help you calm down in the case of experiencing that kind of anxiety, chest pain, and it wouldn't really be something that works for coronavirus. So, COVID-19. So some things to do would be breathing. If it's a chest pain and you can still breathe, do box breathing. Box breathing is where you slow down your breath. You breathe in for 4 counts. You take an inhale, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. You hold it for 4 counts, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. You exhale for 4 counts. And you hold for 4 counts. And repeat that cycle at least 3 to 5 times. Things should start slowing down because that triggers your parasympathetic immune system. In other words, it gets you out of that flight or flight response, which would be the thing that's causing the chest pains. And it would help you come back to, you know, the nervous system response that allows you to breathe slowly, to rest and digest. Another thing that you can do to distinguish in the moment is to play what I call the senses game, the 5 senses game, where if you're experiencing something and you're not sure if it's anxiety or chest pain or something else, then start with eyes. Name your 5 senses. Eyes, so sight, smell, hearing, touch. What did I miss? Sight, smell, hearing, touch, something. So yeah, those sort of grounding techniques. Taste, thanks, Jen. Yeah, taste. So then you would start, okay, you'd be like, all right, 5 senses. Eyes. What are 5 things I can see? And you look around and you name those 5 things. All right. Hearing. What are 4 things I can hear? Listen. See if you can identify 4 different things you can hear. What are 2 things I can smell? Oh, sorry, I missed 3. What are 3 things I can smell? Do that. Search for 3 different smells. What are 2 things I can touch? Touch different things if you want to. And what is 1 thing I can taste? Then, you know, taste is usually the hardest. So by the time you go through all 4 of those grounding techniques, the breathing or that game will help you kind of identify which one is which. So I think, thanks. I hope that was helpful. Those are the 2 that I teach my students when I'm teaching them anything, sports psychology, anything related to mental health, stress relief. So hope that was helpful. All right. Let us get back to our screen share. That was our little break. I hope you all shifted around and practiced your breathing. Okay, now we're going to go into your body and getting your body prepared, let's say, for managing the current situation. So your immune system is your body's first line of defense, right? This is the same immune system that protects you from the common cold. So in other words, the same immune system that deals with all the other milder coronaviruses and rhinoviruses and whatever other type of viruses that we experience that give us the sniffles. And it's the same immune system that protects us from the flu. So some folks have really strong immune systems and don't get the cold and don't get the flu. Some folks, if you know yourself and you know you get the flu every year for spring and winter or whatever, then you need to pay attention to making sure your immune system is strong. Everybody needs to pay attention right now, in particular, to making sure your immune system is strong. But, you know, for those who have their strong immune systems and don't catch the cold, then you're doing something right. Figure out what it is you're doing and keep doing it and do it better. So keep your immune health up so you and others who are more at risk can be better protected. It's important to take care of your immune system before you get sick, because it can help both with prevention, but even if you do get sick, it helps you recover faster and it helps the cold or the flu or the virus of any sort become, like, it would be milder. It wouldn't be as huge of an effect. So Vitamins and minerals that specifically support the immune system. Now, whenever possible, get your vitamins and minerals from the foods that you eat. You can supplement in moderation, but even the supplements aren't meant to replace what you get from food, all right? I highlighted, well, not highlighted, but I expanded on vitamin C and zinc. Vitamin C there's so many studies about vitamin C. And the one thing we all know is vitamin C helps helps your immune system to be strong so you can prevent getting the cold, all right? You can get vitamin C in fruits and green leafy vegetables. It is there. It is very available. It's a lot of times more bioavailable, means that your body absorbs the vitamins more from food because we were made to eat food and not necessarily pills. So as much as possible, get your fruits, get your green leafy vegetables. They're an excellent source of vitamin C as well. Zinc. Zinc is another one that has been studied and has been shown to help with preventing the cold and with even helping the cold to be shorter, the experience of having the cold. So zinc is a mineral that's found in oysters, crab, lean meats, and poultry. If you're not eating meats or animal products, you can get it in beans, and especially chickpeas or chana, red beans or kidney beans, right? You can also get zinc through yogurt. So those are the two I want to highlight. But in general, your immune system also benefits, of course, from vitamins E, vitamin A, and vitamin D. E and A you also get from foods. You get it, honestly, those are fat soluble. So foods like with oils, right? Foods with oils and foods with healthy fats, that's where you're going to get vitamins A and E. Vitamin D you get from sunshine. If you're not going to be in the sunshine, that is definitely something you want to supplement. And it's very common for people to have vitamin D deficiency that really, it weakens your whole body. So, and it also can lead to depression. So vitamin D supplementation is just a general mind body supplement, and a healthy body would have a healthy immune system. So definitely, if you don't have that, get some vitamin D. Folic acid is a B vitamin. It's vitamin B9. You get that if you take your B complex vitamins. But you also get it in meats and in certain foods that are fortified to make folic acid available, right? So they fortify dairy a lot. If you've ever taken prenatal vitamins, it would be in there. Or any multivitamin will have all of these. Selenium and iron are also two minerals that you want to make sure you're getting. Again, a simple multivitamin will make sure you have all of these, and you would make sure that's just a supplement, because what you're doing is you're eating most of it in your green leafy vegetables, in your fruits, in your mostly plants. If you're eating meat, in your lean meats and healthy meats. And if you're not eating meats, in your beans, chickpeas, all of those. All right, now to the herbs. Herbs that are traditionally used to boost the immune system. There are really, I'm sure there's a lot more than this, and there's also mushrooms, which I'm not strong in. I don't know enough details about the mushrooms, but the herbs I know that are very popular, easy to find, that I have used and my family have used are echinacea, the Latin name is Echinacea purpurea, and elderberry, right? Sambucus nigra. Okay, those two are very popular, usually easy to get, and they're great for boosting the immune system. Often you can find them in a grocery store or a natural food store. You get them as capsules, extracts, those little dropper bottles. Teas, you can get them in tea. I've seen echinacea in tea. You can get them as lozenges, or what's the other word for a lozenge? Like cough drops, right? You can get elderberry cough drops. You can get gummies, and children, you'd find gummies or syrups for children. So they are common. Um, the grocery stores in Austin are pretty bare, or they were pretty bare yesterday, but people were getting other things, and there were still some echinacea and elderberry type things available in the healthy food section, or the health section of the HEB grocery stores. I'm not sure about the grocery stores in other places, but wherever you find the supplements, if it's not there, there might be a section that has like natural foods or healthy foods, and you should be able to find these type of things easily because they're really popular, and they're not, like, people don't, they're not harmful. They're pretty safe to use, I should say. You don't want to use anything, not even the vitamins. Like, you don't want to use anything in excess. Just because it's good and it helps doesn't mean you take all of it at once, okay? You use it as recommended. When used as recommended, they're not harmful. It generally, people react well to them, and so that's why those two are very, very popular. All right, mind you, for echinacea and elderberry, they're not that useful or as useful after you get the cold. They are more useful in preventing the cold. So use it when you're not sick, right? Just take it as part of your daily routine. Every so often, you might want to take a week off to give your body a rest from taking in this thing. But about a month solid, if you take it every day, that is a good thing to use to boost your immune system and help prevent getting the cold and flu. If you already have a cold or a flu, maybe echinacea has been shown to help, like, ease it up a little bit, but it's more valuable preventatively to prevent viral respiratory infections. That's their specialty. There's a lot of other things that boost the immune system in other ways, but these two, their specialty is viral respiratory infections. They help, they're really good with that system. Other ways to strengthen your immune system are basically healthy living, right? Getting sleep. Sleep actually has a role in keeping your immune system healthy. Like, while you sleep, your body's releasing certain proteins. Your body is getting back into balance, right? And so your immune system needs sleep. So this would be a time where you invest in getting that 8 hours sleep that you keep, denying yourself, or you keep forgetting or thinking it's not important enough. Get that 8 hours sleep. It's worth it. It's worth it. Mindfulness and meditation. And I believe it may not be as much studies about this, but mindfulness, meditation, and prayer can be considered a type of meditation for those who pray. Those type of practices are definite, like, yes, they're good for your mental health, but they actually have a physical effect on your immune system. Because guess what? Your mind is part of your body. It is a literal part of your body. So your mental health is part of your physical health. And so mindfulness and meditation, if it's not something you've tried or done, give it a shot, give it a try. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of meditation music you can get online, on the radio. I'm not sure about the radio, but like on like Spotify apps and Pandora apps, things like that. So it doesn't hurt. That same breathing technique that I mentioned earlier, the box breathing, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 second hold, and repeat, that is a meditation style breathing practice too. Literally, all it means is you sit still, you relax, you feel comfortable, and then you focus on counting your breaths and doing that over and over again. That's enough. That's all you need to achieve. All right, so that's mindfulness and meditation. The 5 senses, activity that we did, that's a mindfulness activity. So because it brings you into the moment, and that helps with immune benefit. All right, regular to moderate exercise. I don't know if y'all know this. Exercise is my thing. That's my specialty. I studied kinesiology before I studied the health behavior and health education. So that is my thing. Now, exercise improves your immune system if it is moderate. When you do excessive exercise or get too vigorous, you actually briefly drop your immune system. So you don't want to over exercise, okay? You want to do moderate levels of exercise. It raises your heartbeat, makes you sweat. You can talk, but you can't have a whole conversation while you're doing it, right? So that is moderate exercise. Also, a one-time workout is not enough to raise your immune system. So starting, even if it's while you're home during this time, starting to say, look up YouTube videos and do a little workout and doing it consistently every day without pushing yourself to extreme, that is a good practice because it actually actively improves your immune system. There is a doctor, and the link is in these slides as well. There is a doctor in Spain. He's Asian, but he was working in Spain and he contracted COVID-19. And so he's been tweeting about it. He's been on Twitter, tweeting in English about each day. So I think he's on like day 5 or day 6 today. And he's been, his care is simple, the same care that you would do if you have a cold. You might take paracetamol or Tylenol or ibuprofen for whatever aches and pains. And he does push-ups because he's trying to keep his immune system up. He's doing push-ups in his room. All right, so whatever, see if you can get that exercise in. Probiotics. So probiotics are basically healthy bacteria for your gut and your body in general, right? Probiotics are helpful because they keep your body in balance. They are helpful for your immune system in general. So if you want your immune system to be generally boosted, then start taking some probiotics. You can get that in yogurt, kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut, tempeh. There's a lot of ways to get it. I love kombucha. That's my way. So lots of folks love yogurt, and that's easy to get, right? So it doesn't do anything specifically for viruses, but it does improve your gut health, and your gut health improves your immune health. So it's worth paying attention to. And if you're not using probiotics yet, get some. What messes up your immune system? Well, chronic and constant stress, which is why I'm having this. I don't want people to be overly stressed out, and having information helps with stress, right? Now, don't dig and make yourself more stressed out. You got to take breaks and all of that. But the chronic, constant stress that people have been feeling recently, it's so thick you can cut the air when you go out in public. Work on coping mechanisms for that, because that actually does not help your immune system at all. And it undoes what you want happening. So, tobacco use. Please stop smoking. If you do smoke, stay away from secondhand smoke as well. Excessive alcohol. All those folks who going out and grabbing Corona Beer as their joke, as a joke, saying, you know, okay, Corona Beer, that's going to help me, you know, fight the coronavirus. As we know, it's a joke. And also, if you're drinking too much, you're actually reducing the power of your immune system. You're not helping. Excess fat, salt, and sugar in your foods. So we know, so the thing about it is the preventative measures of that the CDC and World Health Organization are giving a very practical behaviors to prevent transmission, but they're not talking about food and nutrition, which is why I'm talking about food and nutrition. That is how you improve your immune system. So excess fat, excess salt and sugar, you want to start cutting those out. They do more damage to your immune system than good. Not saying don't have any fat, salt, and sugar. You get your vitamins A and E from fat, right? So your body does need fat. Your body does need salt and sugar. It's just how you get it and in what proportions. You don't want to be excessive. And if you don't know what excessive is, there's a lot of good research and a lot of good nutrition sites and podcasts you can find. But definitely just eat healthier. Grief and loneliness, which is ironic because we're being told to isolate ourselves, right? Um, and grief, you can't, like, that's part of life. So grief and loneliness, you would want to counteract that by staying in communication, like actually paying attention to your group chats and getting involved in them, maybe, or calling your friends, keeping in touch with people, even if you can't go see them and hug them in person at this point in time because there's just too much going on. Still keep in touch with your people. Their support system, they're there. Community is important for a reason. We are social creatures. So even if we're introverting, remember to talk to people and keep in touch with your folks. Grief, if you are finding that you're spending more time alone and that you are in a period right now where you're grieving for any reason, then this is a good time to do the self-work and work through it. Get through the stages. You can look up the stages of grief, but it is important to actually address it and not ignore it because your mental health is part of your physical health and your immune system is affected. All right, so reduce your stress, communicate with friends, don't isolate completely. Ways to deal with your anxiety. I got this image that says ways to deal with your anxiety. I got it from the Black Female Therapist Instagram account. The ways they suggest are focus on what you can control, right? Stop stressing about what you can't control. Doing helps to reduce the stress, but not just doing. The thing about it is not just doing in a way that is destructive. Do things sensibly. Take steps to prepare. That's the other suggestion. Practice self-care. Take a break from the news and challenge your thoughts. All right, some home remedies. Right now, like I said, the stores, the shelves in the grocery stores might be bare. They're restocking. Don't stress about that. There'll be stuff there in a couple of days. But look in your kitchen and see what you have that is your food is, let your food be your medicine, right? Exercise and food are medicine. Should be the first line of medicine that people get to before they need to get to other types of medicine. So things you may have in your kitchen that are very helpful and can benefit you during this time: garlic, onion. So garlic is at the top. It is a broad spectrum antimicrobial, and it also helps support with the immune system. By broad spectrum antimicrobial, I mean it is antiviral. It kills viruses, it kills bacteria, it even kills fungus, right? So garlic has been an ingredient in traditional medicines forever because of all those beautiful strengths and properties it has, right? So you got that in your kitchen and it makes your food taste good. Onion is traditionally used for coughs and colds. It's often mixed with honey. More the onion juice, but yeah. It also, as we know, cutting up the onion can help clear your sinuses, right? And clear some congestion. Ginger. Ginger is warming and soothing for colds, coughs, and flu. And it's like especially used for respiratory problems. Cinnamon is a natural antiseptic and antiviral. Lemons are also a natural antiseptic and they have a very high vitamin C content. and they are a natural fever reducer. Honey. Honey has antimicrobial properties as well, and it acts as a cough suppression. Pineapple juice is a very, very effective cough suppressant. It has this enzyme called bromelain that has been found in studies to be as effective as cough syrups that you purchase in the stores, right? So pineapple juice, something you can get your hands on. Salt is traditionally mixed with warm water as a gargle for a sore throat. And then vinegar, you may have vinegar. It could be regular vinegar or apple cider vinegar. Those are also used as gargles with water and salt for sore throat. So these are things, something on this list is in your kitchen. So you have stuff to use, even if there isn't a whole lot of stuff in the grocery store. And then when the grocery store gets restocked, guess what? People aren't going after these things. They're going after apparently toilet paper and other things, right? So you get the things, these very natural, typical kitchen items when you go to the grocery store and have them on hand. How would you use them? Or things to support, like if you are feeling sick, cold, flu, or even coronavirus. Remember, people who are experiencing it, most people are experiencing it as something that is mild, like a cold or a flu, right? So if you've ever had a bad flu, then you're more than well equipped to handle and recover from this. All right, so drink plenty of fluids, particularly water, right? Soups. You all know about chicken soup and all that sort of stuff. There's good reason why chicken soups and soups are used to give people when they're sick. All right. If you're doing a soup, make sure it's cooked slowly, because high heat, if you really want the benefits of the things like the garlic and the onion, high heat reduces those benefits, right? So you would want soups cooking slowly on low heat, and have plenty of onion and garlic and ginger. And you always want protein in your foods that are going to help you recover, because proteins, a lot of what your immune system produces, the antibodies, right, and the cells, they operate using proteins. So you do want to take in protein as part of recovering. Same thing with if you're recovering from surgery. Proteins are the building blocks that help you build your body back up. So you want proteins. If you're not doing chicken soup, if you're vegan or vegetarian, split peas and spinach soup. Same concept. You put all the other vegetables, all the other seasonings, and put your split peas and spinach. Spinach has high protein, a green leafy vegetable, and split peas, high protein. Okay, split peas, dal, right? So dal is another word for split peas, or yellow peas, green peas, whatever you want to call them. Add your other veggies, like your carrots and your other vegetables, and that gives you something that is nutritious, that is nutrient dense, gives your body the things it needs. So it replenishes, but because it is a soup, it also replenishes your fluids, right? And if you're replenishing your fluids, then you're also benefiting your recovery. As much as possible, use fresh herbs and seasonings in your cooking if you're going to be cooking soups for yourself, because the same things like we just saw, the same things that are fresh herbs, that are seasonings for us, those things are also what we use in our foods. Those are also traditional medicinal herbs. We may not realize it, but most of the time, seasonings are also medicinal herbs. So in other words, your food, healthy food, cooking your own food with fresh seasonings and herbs is medicine. That is why food can be medicine. That's why food keeps you so healthy. Not just by providing the nutrients, but also providing protection and helping you to recover from issues. If someone is sick and they can't eat a lot of solid foods at the point in time, oatmeal is a very good food to help people recover from illness. It's good protein. It has mucilage, which will help them kind of remove any mucus cough it up or get it out of their system. It's just a really good traditional food for convalescence or for recovering. So if anyone is sick, give them that. Now, as you know, as you can see, these methods are just general things. You use them for colds, flus, and you could use them for coronavirus. Your body works. Your body is amazing. It's made to survive. You help it by doing these things that we've been doing for so long that has helped humans survive this long, right? Other herbal home remedies. Antimicrobial honey. That's something I've made, and it's good. I changed up this recipe to make it specifically an antiviral, but you can use all sorts of things. So essentially, is you're putting the herbs in a jar, and you're putting honey in the jar, and you're letting it sit. You're letting it all kind of osmose or kind of seep together. Honey is a natural antimicrobial by itself, but when you put garlic, some crushed cloves, put thin slices of ginger and some cinnamon sticks, and just put it in the honey. Let it sit for about 2 weeks before you actually start using the honey in the jar. So it has a lot of time. The honey, the same way you can make, I don't know, ginger oil and infused water, the elements of the thing that's sitting in the water or in the oil goes out and diffuses into it. Same thing happens in honey. The elements of the garlic and the ginger and the cinnamon, it diffuses into it. The honey might taste a little different. And sometimes even, I think it might be because of the garlic and ginger, I probably think it's the ginger. The honey even gets more liquidy. It becomes a little more liquid. So you can start shaking it up during that 2 weeks to help it mix even more. You can use this honey for, if you have a sore throat, you can literally just take a tablespoon and pop it as a syrup, or you can use it in your tea, just like you would use regular honey if you're drinking your hot drinks, right? Right now, good time to use your herbal teas, your lemon teas, right? Your ginger teas. Use them and put this honey in it, right? Or if you think you're coming down with something, that's when you can start using it more specifically. Another home remedy is lemon and honey shots, right? Lemon juice and honey shots. I call it shots, but it's just like a little bit is what I'm saying. Just a little bit of liquid. You would squeeze a lemon and you would put honey. You'd squeeze a lemon and you put honey in it. It's room temperature. It doesn't have to be cold. It could be warm if you want it warm. You can put a little bit of warm water to make it warm. But yeah, mix that together and drink it. Sometimes you can add onion juice if you want to add even more of like a traditional antiviral thing, because as we said, honey and onion juice has been used. But yeah, create your little juice, your lemon juice, your honey shot, and that's good if you think you're coming down with something. And that's something I learned before I did herbalism. That's something I learned just from being in Trinidad growing up. So folks from Trinidad who are on the call, y'all might know that one too. Just lemon juice and honey. Or sometimes we say lime and honey as well. Lime might be a good substitute for the lemon, but lemon is the one that has very high vitamin C, so stick with that if you can. Salt and vinegar gargle, same. Cup of water, like, I don't know, small cup, not a whole big, huge tumbler. Small cup with water, you use warm water, and you put salt, probably about a tablespoon of salt. You can put more if you want. It has to be salty. You have to taste the salt. And you can use regular vinegar or apple cider vinegar, whatever type you have. And put that in the warm water and you gargle with that. That is a good gargle home remedy. That you'd use for sore throats, and you'd use it if you have a cold to help the cold finish faster and quicker. Other tips, mouthwash, y'all. Mouthwash, most of us have it. We use it for our teeth, which is great. Mouthwash is really effective in zapping a cold early. because cold viruses, and remember, many cold viruses are coronaviruses. So that means it's very likely coronaviruses act very similar. Cold viruses, they hang out in the throat. That first couple of days, that incubation period when you're not feeling anything yet, they're in the throat multiplying. That's where they start, and that's where they stay until they get more into the respiratory system, right? So gargling, even with a regular mouthwash, gets to them there, and they cannot survive in that environment. Same thing with gargling with the salt and vinegar water. It creates an acidic environment that they can't survive. So that gargling, if you feel the hint, first tickle of a sore throat, gargle. Just grab your mouthwash, or if you don't have mouthwash, use your salt and vinegar. But if you do have the mouthwash, even better, just make gargling a part of your daily dental care routine. Gargle when you brush your teeth in the morning, or when you brush your teeth before you go to bed, or twice a day, however much you want. No harm, right? Don't swallow these things. Gargle them, spit them out. Don't swallow them. Make a habit of washing your hands as soon as you get home from being out. Just habit, new habit. In Trinidad, we do this, or used to do this. Have home clothes, have dedicated home clothes that whenever you get home, these clothes don't go outside. They don't get outside air. So when you get home, you change your clothes. Whatever you were wearing goes in the laundry basket. You don't sit on your bed with these outside clothes. You don't sit on your couch with the outside clothes. You change into your home clothes, and then you're sitting and living at home. That helps prevent like things coming home with you, right? Viruses, whatever, they can live on surfaces like cloth and clothes. So change your clothes when you get home and have home clothes. Shower when you get home and change into your home clothes. That actually is advice that I have heard related to mental health first, but it makes a lot of sense for this situation. So in terms of mental health, what happens if you have a long day, or when you are at work and you have stress and all of that, you come home, you shower, and that act of showering, somehow mentally, it is a reset. It's like, all right, that part of my day is done. Let me start something new. So showering is a reset mentally, and then you change into new clothes. So that is a good stress relief activity, and it's very practical in this situation where we're just trying to make sure that we don't transmit a virus and bring it in with us. So it saves us a lot of the worry about, ooh, what am I bringing home with me? If you just make it a habit, all right, I'm home, drop my things, go in the shower. If you're going in the shower straight from outside, you want to make sure you're using warm water. If outside is warm, if outside is cold, you want to probably wait a while for your body temperature to rise before you jump in the shower. Also, regularly clean surfaces you touch a lot, like your cell phone, your backpack, your steering wheel, door handles, all of that. And with all this hand washing, then the little corners of our nails are likely to start peeling and stripping, because that happens. So dries that very tender, delicate skin. So moisturize. Moisturize when you wash your hands. That helps your skin stay whole. And you know what? The less injuries you have to your body, the less things your immune system has to worry about protecting you from. So I'm sure it helps. What not to do. Don't stockpile necessary items for medical professionals and for those who are at higher risk. Everybody's out there buying face masks and sanitizer. Sanitizer is good. We do want sanitizer. We don't need a year's worth of it, right? Face masks, the people who really need the face masks are the doctors, the emergency personnel, and the people who are most vulnerable, whose immune systems might be compromised, and the people who actually have the cold or have the flu or have the coronavirus. Because what the idea of the face masks, these things spread by air particles. I'm speaking, air particles are coming out of my mouth. These particles are, they're fluid really, right? So liquid particles are coming out of my mouth. If I cough, bigger liquid particles come out, right? So the masks are to block those particles from going beyond the person who's coughing or speaking. That's really what they do. There's a lot of talk about very specific types of a specific size. From what I've read, those very specific types of masks, for them to work as well as they could, they need to be fitted to the person, right? So just the way you wear the right size shoe, you have to wear the right size mask. So they need to be fitted. But the folks who have gone and bought them in the pharmacies, they were just buying them. They weren't fitted. So they may not work any better than a regular little surgical mask. So anyway, no need to stockpile these things, especially if you're doing all the other things to take care of yourself. Don't panic buy. What do we mean by don't panic buy? Prepare in a reasonable way. Don't deprive everyone else of food and household necessities out of your panic. You don't need a year's worth of toilet paper. Remember, diarrhea was one of the rare symptoms. Do not take antibiotics. First of all, antibiotics are to fight bacteria. This is a virus, different things. So you cannot fight a virus with an antibiotic. And what's worse is the nature of bacteria and antibiotics. When they're being misused, that results in stronger bacteria. And we don't want stronger bacteria. So let's not misuse antibiotics. All right. Do not spray people. I've been seeing lots of jokes about spraying people down. Do not spray people with alcohol or chlorine. First of all, if they do have the virus, it is inside of their lungs, their respiratory system. It is not out on their skin. Well, not in that way. Using alcohol and chlorine on skin is a no-no. That is, would you bathe in that? No, it's not meant for skin. It's meant to clean surfaces, and you want to use it to clean surfaces. And you want those people to shower if you're worried about they have something on their clothes or their skin, then shower and wash your clothes. That's less harmful to everybody involved. Don't spray people. I've been seeing people spraying their children with alcohol. If that gets in their eyes, if that gets in their nose, that's not helping. Chlorine is not for humans to have on our skin. So, no. And don't be a racist asshole. Sorry, mommy. There's been an increase in racism against Asians because the virus started in China, and people are saying stupid racist things. But what's worse, people are actually physically attacking Asians and refusing to buy Asian food and all kinds of really silly things that are not based in logic. They're based in racism. Don't be those people. And those are some of the things not to do. Let me look at these two chat messages real quick. All right, I'm not seeing the chat message. I'll get back to chat messages when I close this window. Possibilities, where is this going? Okay, first of all, right now, this week, before the school goes, a scientist, well, before this week, scientists in China had already mapped the entire genome of this particular virus. It's an RNA virus, so it uses RNA, ribonucleic acid type genes, and it was mapped. They know the genes of it. That information was shared publicly, so now researchers all over the world are using that information and trying to figure out how to zap this virus. At UT Austin, there was a breakthrough, I think earlier this week, with one of the scientists figuring out exactly how the viruses attaches to human cells. So now they know exactly the mechanism. It attaches to a specific type, a specific particle on human cells, let's say. I think it's ACE2 proteins or something along those lines, a specific thing. So now they know the specific way it affects and attaches the human cells. They can now work on ways to stop it from attaching. So that's where we are in terms of potentially getting medicines made and technology made for preventing this. And so we're in a technical space where this is moving very fast. And that's why I'm saying give yourself 2 to 3 weeks. Use this 2 to 3 weeks a certain way, but like this can change quickly. Like all pandemics and outbreaks, this one will end. The flu was a terrible pandemic that killed a lot of people. And now it is a seasonal inconvenience. It still kills people who are very vulnerable to it. So like all pandemics, this one will end. What we don't know and what time will tell is if it will disappear from the human population like SARS in 2004, or if it will become seasonal like the flu. We don't know. But at some point, it's going to simplify. It won't be like this. This is only because of the uncertainty and the fact that we don't have the remedies yet for it. To keep it under control, that's why I'm saying give yourself these couple weeks. Let the world give ourselves these couple weeks. Yes, it's silly and annoying when wonderful events close down and when school closes down and all of that. The reason for it is less not to create panic, but more to make sure that people aren't moving around as much, aren't in rooms together at close quarters as much, so that there's time for this thing to, one, for people to find solutions for the virus, and two, in that process, it's not spread like wantonly, like how it was originally when it just started. It just spread because people went along living their same lives. You can handle doing a little bit less for 2 weeks if you can. Again, it causes loss of income. It causes a lot of inconvenience. It causes issues with childcare. In Austin, folks are working on that and trying to help mitigate that. And I'm sure in other countries and other spaces as well. Trinidad, I'm not sure what specific activities are taking place, but in Austin, the schools are providing school meals still. So they have meal pickups for the people who are food insecure and who don't have food, who would usually get their school lunches. They're providing meal pickups for anybody under 19. You go and get food every day. Unfortunately, I don't think they have it as a system where you take stuff home, but there are still places you can just go and get food near the schools that you usually go to. Yeah, the health clinics, they're standing by and ready. So these couple of weeks are going to be the ones where we ideally stem the tide of the virus spreading, so that there's time to get a remedy or to get, it will take a little longer to get a vaccine, probably, but to figure out how, like using the information the scientists found this week, figure out how to stop it from attaching to human cells a little bit so it's not as severe, right? And so to give some perspective, over the next 2 to 4 weeks, take the opportunity to prioritize self-care. All of these things are things we needed to be doing anyway, right? Exercising, reducing stress in healthy ways, eating more fruits and vegetables, drinking more water, getting enough sleep. These are all things we all promised ourselves we'd do January 1st anyway, right? And if we're not actively working on some of them, or we don't have them all together, then cool. This next 2 weeks gives you an incentive to get that together, to prioritize your self-care. Use it like that. Don't use it to stress. Use it as an opportunity to train in your self-care. Practice setting and holding boundaries. This is a unique opportunity to practice setting and holding boundaries, especially for those of us who have trouble doing that, right? We specifically are deciding to not shake hands or to not hug for these next 2 weeks. We could handle that. That is a way to practice. You're there practicing holding this boundary so that when you're learning to set boundaries in other areas of your life, you build that muscle. You now know how to say no, or you now know how to say, not like that, I prefer to do this, right? Use it as an opportunity to grow in that way. This is an opportunity to practice self-compassion and compassion for others. You can set boundaries, you can say no and still be compassionate. You can still be compassionate with yourself if you don't get it right, or like not be self-deprecating or not be hard on yourself if you have a cold, etc. Right? So that's some perspective. And all of these are new healthy habits that, one, they keep you safer in this period of time while we're still trying to figure this virus out. And two, it will help improve your life in the long run. So think of it as training and keep that perspective, shift your perspective. So it's less on, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get on, and more on, this is going to make me a better person if I use these 2 to 4 weeks well. So that's my suggestion. These are a lot of my references. Most of the information I got was from the CDC and the World Health Organization. I did get some of the news, for example, the news about the Congresswoman. I got that from the Independent. The similarities and differences table I got from Allergy Foundation of America. We saw the Johns Hopkins dashboard and medical news. And I also included the link if y'all were curious about Dr. Yale Tung Chen, who is the doctor in Spain who has the virus right now and is just living through it and tweeting what it feels like. He's mostly been talking about, okay, today I had a bad headache and a fever. And then, day 2, okay, the headache is not as bad. I'm not feeling any chest pains yet, but I still have some fever and a sore throat, so things like that. It makes, for some people, that will help you reduce your stress and anxiety about it because you're keeping track of it and you're understanding what it could look like. So that's it for me. That's it for that. Questions, comments, this is the time. Let me stop the share. All right, here we are. Some kombucha have a lot of sugar. What are your go-to? Honestly, I don't buy it that much, which is probably why I don't notice or worry about the sugar. Yeah, I don't know. That would literally just, if I were going to address that, I would stand in front of the kombucha refrigerator in the grocery store and just look at the nutrition facts. And that's how I would figure out which one I would pick up. I don't really buy it that often though. So the sugar is not something I've given a lot of thought of. I may have missed this, but I read that elderberry isn't recommended due to some kind of reaction at the end stage of the virus. I haven't seen or read that, but like I said, elderberry isn't something you take while you have a virus. So I honestly, it's not something I would recommend if you have a cold and a flu and a virus. It's not something you take during it. It is just something you would take before you get sick to improve your immune system. So as a precaution, it's prevent. But either way of the two, between elderberry and echinacea, has more studies behind it and has stronger evidence. So you can stick with that. And also, if it reacts with the virus in some way, then it shouldn't apply if you're using elderberry properly, which is before, before getting sick. I hope that helps. It makes sense. Any other questions? You could also unmute if you feel like unmuting. Okay. So, well, give me feedback then, because I'm doing this as because I like health and understanding and studying. So give me feedback and tell me if it helped, how it helps, and how. Thank you. That was very informative. And oh, thank you. You're so sweet. Thanks all of you for being on here. I love that it was a whole bunch of familiar names and faces. This is good practice for me because I want to move towards teaching health. Like the other day on Facebook, I asked about, what health information you all want to find out, because I like teaching. I have Zoom. There's an opportunity for me to teach. So feel free to let me know if there's other topics. This topic is emergent. This topic is right now. So it made sense. And this is like a public service kind of, but it's also good practice for me. So yeah, I hope it helped with the anxiety and with the understanding of what's going on. Okay, I was informative. I can appreciate that it wasn't fear-based. Thank you. I want to come give this to my coworkers. Yes, it says it's recording. So when I close it out is when it will supposedly save the recorded file. And that takes a little while. And then once that completes, I will post it so you can share. Kimberly, you're amazing. Thanks for taking time to do this. Very informative. Thank you. Oh, and so I want to give a special shout out to my family who's online. I love you all. My brother is here, and then my sister-in-law Petal is here. My mommy is here. I don't know who else is watching with them, but oh gosh, it's so nice. Thank you so much, family. Hi, Ricardo. All right, so we are at time. I did magic. We finished on time. You learn new information. Okay, good. Yep. Most of us were naturally on the right track because we're using the wisdom we already had. That's the thing, is we're using the wisdom we already had. Um, this morning I saw a Democrat symbol called a Coben. It is a picture, is a kind of a picture of a war horn, and the idea is wariness and vigilance. So really, wariness is being careful. Vigilance is paying attention. That's what we need to do. Pay attention, be careful, and use our best wisdom that we already have. And learn new things as much as possible. Use the CDC and WHO, not social media and other types of media. This a little stressful. So CDC and the World Health Organization are the places to get your information. All right. Bye. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for being here. Much love. I appreciate you.